Broadcasting from the Any Hour Services podcast studios, I'm your host, Mike Wilson, and on this episode of In the House, we're going to be talking about why you should go and turn your air conditioner on right now, even though it's not super hot. Right now, go turn it on. Stay tuned. In the House is a podcast about the major systems in the house: electrical, plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. Each week, I'm joined by a panel of experts. We pick a topic and we discuss it in depth. Today, we've got Richard. We've got Kevin, managers over the HVAC department at Any Hour Services. And like I said before, we're going to be talking about why you need to go and turn your air conditioners on right now and just turn it on. Now, I do have to say this. Actually, before we get started, jokes? Any jokes?
I was thinking earlier today, I'm like, I don't even have one.
This will be a no joke episode. We're just going to dive right in. All value, no fluff.
Love it.
Okay. The reason that I wanted to talk about this particular topic is because we were having a conversation in one of our manager meetings, like, hey, every year, because we're getting to that point in the season where it's like, we're going to start getting little temperature spikes that all in all aren't actually that hot. But when you compare them to 75 degrees, 78 degrees, not that warm. But when you compare it to 30 degrees, then all of a sudden, sun's shining, you get in the car, it's super hot, you turn on the air conditioner, you get to the house, it's really hot, you turn on the air conditioner. Whenever we turn the air conditioners on for the first time, you always have a certain number of those where there's some problem, right?
Yeah.
It's not working or something's going wrong, and we get an influx of calls. So with the episode, go turn your air conditioner on right now, doesn't necessarily mean go and start using your air conditioner right now, like for the season. All we're trying to do is help you to beat the rush. Because what happens, Kevin, when all of those people call in when their air conditioners are broke down at the beginning, that really hot day?
Well, I tell you, it's usually such a hot day that is extremely uncomfortable. And everybody, because we all experience the weather essentially at the same time, everybody goes and turns it on at the exact same time. And all the ones that are broken, they affect everybody at the exact same time. So our phones blow up, and all of a sudden it's just trying to get out to as many people as we can. And so you get a lot of people that end up having to wait. And this isn't just an Any Hour thing. This is an industry thing.
Correct.
There's times where it doesn't matter who you are, if you're in HVAC, because of the weather and because of this that happens, you're going to be so busy, and people get stuck waiting uncomfortable. And if you can preemptively beat that rush, holy cow. I mean, that's huge.
Right. Richard, actually funny story, because since I knew that this was happening, we go and I make a little video so that we can post on social to be like, hey, don't get stuck with that rush. Go turn it on right now, because we're going to have a little temperature spike. This is going to post on Tuesday. So last weekend there was a little temperature spike, and the height is supposed to be on Saturday. And so like if you wait till 2-3 o'clock on a Saturday and you have that rush happen, then it's going to be even that much harder to get somebody out. So we film this little video, we run to my house to get some B-roll shots. We're like, okay, well, let's go and do what we're about to go through. And you told me, Kevin, one of the things yesterday was like, well, go back outside and make sure it actually came on. So I go turn my system on, I go outside, and I'm not joking. Like, I can't make this up. My compressor stops or the unit just kind of shuts down, and Cam and I are sitting there looking at each other like, what's going on?
That's not right.
And so I thought to myself, well, maybe my wife didn't realize what I was doing, and she just went right behind me and turned the thermostat back up. So I go inside. Nope. Thermostat's still down really low. I was like, it couldn't have reached temperature. I go downstairs. The furnace is blowing, like the blower downstairs is blowing, but the one upstairs not. Anyway, a lot going on yesterday. I needed to get the video made and stuff. So I told Cam, I was like, let's just go. Like, I'll just deal with it later. And as we're like walking away, it kicks back on. And so I don't know what happened, but I let it run for a little bit to like make sure it had some cold air. Any ideas what happened? Am I going to have some issues?
Wow, jeez. It started and then it turned off?
Yeah, like I adjusted the whatever's called thermostat. It came on, and then by the time I walked outside,
I would check your wiring, make sure everything's tight. You've been doing some work on there. I'd make sure all
Hey.
the wiring's tight. No,
Hey.
no, no. It's about not. Sometimes they just kind of wiggle loose.
Well, I did actually, like I opened the disconnect, I pulled it out, tried to put it back in, like check some things. But if it happens again, I'll go back and
Do
I'll
you
check
have
the
a
wiring.
cool keeper box on, or the Rocky Mountain Power one?
Yes, but someone came out and disconnected it and
Okay.
left
Rocky
the
Mountain
box.
Power. Yeah, they would have come
Yeah, they would have come taking that.
and
Okay.
disconnected it.
Because sometimes those will, once you power them up, they'll turn on for a second and then they'll turn back off.
Ah,
That's why I was asking that question. But I would check your wiring just to make sure everything's tight.
okay. Anyway, all right. So I just thought that was really funny that like we were saying, hey, here's why you want to do this. Because if it would have been broken, if I would have gotten home last night, if it wouldn't have come back on, I'd still have a couple of days that I could like get a. It's not super hot outside. It was cold this morning when I got up.
Yeah.
And so exactly what we're talking about, the reason you want to go out there and turn it on right now. So let's go through the process because it's super simple. This is not going to be a super long episode. So what do we do?
First of all, change the thermostat over to the air conditioning.
Okay.
Typically, they're still on the furnace. Switch over to the AC to start. You know, that's what you want to start with, is to actually turn the thermostat down, the
Okay.
temperature like you did.
So I also, because we've talked about this before, some people cover their air conditioners, you know, for the whatever it's called, winter, the
Yes.
cold season. And so just in case the thermostat kicked it on, I tell them go outside
Yes.
first and make sure it's like uncovered. And so this year I actually, since I like made the video cleaning mine so in depth, I've never covered my air conditioner before.
You want to show it off to your neighbors?
No, I didn't want to show it off, but since I
You
never
never have to clean it again.
well, I had never covered it before, but since I had spent, it was hard taking the thing apart and cleaning it. Like it was not the most fun thing in the world, and it was so clean and pretty. And so, like as I was shutting it down for the season, I was like, that just looks too good. I need to like I need to cover it. And so I just put a piece of plywood over the top so that it would hopefully keep the leaves and stuff from falling in. They still got in it. But anyway, like so I did have to like go and take that off of mine. So number one, make sure it's
sure it's
uncovered.
clear. Uncovered,
Make sure
yep.
it's not blocked by anything. And then number two, what you said, Richard, go set your thermostat to auto or air conditioning mode and turn it down far enough that the thermostat will actually call for air conditioning.
Yeah.
And then Kevin brought this step to my attention, is what the impetus of my problem yesterday. What's the next step?
Next step, make sure that it comes on. So when you turn it down, you should feel air coming out your vents. But what you've got to make sure is that the unit outside has actually kicked on. The fan is spinning and the compressor is running. A couple things that can happen. You know, you might have the fan spinning and not have the compressor running, and that.
Now, when
may
you say the
be
fan spinning, are you talking about in the house?
no, I'm talking outside.
Outside, okay.
Mhm. So the actual fan that's on top that kicks the air can be spinning and not have the compressor running. So you want to make sure that something's happening out there, and then I'd walk in and feel the vents, make sure it feels like the air coming out's actually cold.
That's the last step. Check and make sure the air's cold. So uncover it. Turn the thermostat down so that the air conditioner comes on. Go back outside and make sure that something's happening out there, and then go back inside and make sure you feel cold air coming out of the vents.
Yeah.
Now, I was saying let it run for like 15, 20 minutes so that, you know, things can, you know, move, parts can move and lubricate and things like that with the compressor. How should it be like noticeably cold?
Yes. Yeah, you should see it'll be 20 degrees or so colder.
Okay. So yeah, that's it. And if it's not working at that point, you can, you know, call somebody.
I tested mine out a week ago. We had a warm day and my upstairs got a little warmer, so I decided to turn it on, test it out, because the same thing. I didn't want to get to where we get slammed and my own air conditioner doesn't break, and I don't even have time to get to my own air conditioner.
Right.
My wife would not be happy.
Not happy.
It broke last year on us in the middle of summer,
What broke?
the capacitor. So luckily she was actually out of town. I got home from work, I don't whatever it was, 7, 6. And it's like 80 degrees in my upper level. I'm like, oh boy. So
And if you ever, I mean, I know you've been doing this for a really long time, but if you ever get to the point where you can't remember how to change the capacitor, we do have the video.
go to
that I made.
Mike's YouTube video.
Go to that.
I watch it every time I needed to replace a capacitor. Just in case.
Just in case.
What if I miss a step?
Well, let's see. Which one's the capacitor? That's the. Just kidding.
Yeah, but I started
Sorta.
my
the contactor. That's the one I ran into
Contactor.
problems with.
yeah, that one's a little harder. Yeah, I started my air conditioner a couple weeks ago because I wanted to be ready for it in case something happens. I wanted to be ready to go.
I feel behind.
Because you haven't turned yours
I
on.
haven't turned mine on yet.
Well, you got a couple of days.
That's true.
And here's
Saturday's a
the thing.
good day.
For you guys, I think it's okay if you turn it on that really hot day because you don't have to wait for a technician to come out. You are the technician.
Yeah, but trying to fix it when you get home at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night kind of sucks.
It isn't the
Then
most
you don't
fun.
have all the parts you need, and it's just
Yeah.
I'd rather have it done before.
The last time I did have my capacitor go a few years ago. And it was one of those things. It was on the weekend, and I had to wait till
The supplier
the
opened up.
supplier opened, and it was like,
Pretty sure in my video, one of the recommendations I give is to maybe keep an extra capacitor because they're not that expensive. So that video that you watch every time,
Yeah.
Kevin,
yeah, I've got multiple.
He
Miss
must
Star Wars now.
have been doing
you
the
didn't
work
go
on
all
that
the way to
video.
the end. That's what it is. So
Okay.
anyway, that's really all there is to this episode. The reason that we're doing it is to make sure, one, that your system is working, and if it isn't, so that you don't get stuck having to wait in an uncomfortable house for a technician to come out there. And
I think regardless of the age too, even if it's a year old, make sure it starts. Like, because there could be something else. I mean, who knows what? But I've seen spiders and bugs grow, little nests and stuff like that into parts that prevent it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. They'll
So
stop
even-
the parts from moving. And
Yeah, even if it's a year old, 6 months, still try it, test it out, make sure it's going to start.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, what if somebody pulled the, whatever that thing's called, disconnect
Yeah, the disconnect. We have
parts?
We have dogs that chew through the wire, the control wire, stuff like that. It's like, well, it's only a year old, Bill.
I went back on one 6 months old that the mice had just chewed through the wires inside the unit.
Really?
Yeah.
That's no fun. So yeah, there's all kinds of little things that could happen. So regardless of the age of your system, go out there, turn it on. Again, and by no means are we trying to say it's air conditioner season. You should start running it all the time. You just need to go out there and get it turned on, make sure it's working.
Do yourself a favor and beat the rush.
Beat the rush.
Yep.
So, and I mean, if you haven't scheduled your, annual dealer maintenance tune-ups yet, go ahead and do that. I know our schedules are starting to fill up, so get that done. Anyway, that's the show. Any last words on that,
Nope.
Kevin?
Nope.
Nope. All right. This has been a jokeless episode of In the House.
This whole episode was a joke. Just kidding.
Wow. Wow. He didn't mean it, folks. He did not mean it.
I'm good.
We need to end before you keep just derailing this thing.
Don't let me talk.
No.
Take the mic away.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to know more about Any Hour Services, visit anyhourservices.com. I've been your host, Mike Wilson, and you've been listening to In the House.